Hey, it's me, Snow McGee, and as you can tell, this isn't where I normally do videos, but my heart's been a little bit of a tachycardic fart, and I've been really winded lately. Like, I got winded putting on a pair of pants. So I thought going downstairs might be a little counterproductive. So, as I mentioned in the last vlog, I recently saw the movie 5 Feet Apart. And oh my, it was phenomenal. And as someone who has lived with a chronic illness the majority of her life, I found it so relatable. So, in this vlog, I want to talk about that and talk about this movie and talk about what I loved about it. But at first, I have to, say what the movie's about. So, anyway, this movie is the love story of Stella and Will, who both have cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a terminal genetic disease that causes an overload of mucus in the body, and that mucus just kind of destroys everything and affects all your organs, but primarily affects your lungs. I really, really hope I got that right. I do not have cystic fibrosis, just putting it out there. This movie is super relatable, I think, to anyone with chronic illness, but I have never suffered from cystic fibrosis. If you are curious about cystic fibrosis, please check out Summer Love, Travis Flores, Claire Wineland, and the Claire's Place Foundation, and the Frey Life. All these people have cystic fibrosis and share their story amazingly, in my opinion, and bring so much needed awareness to their condition and just help people in the chronic illness community in general. Claire Wineland, actually, she died earlier this year during her lung transplant, but she was a crucial part of this movie. The hunky director, who's really good looking, the guy from Jane the Virgin, Justin Baldoni, was actually really, really good friends with Claire, and she was a part of this movie talking with the actors and helping things be incredibly accurate. So yeah, I do not have cystic fibrosis. As you guys know, I have a bunch of autoimmune chaos going on around here. But as someone who is chronically ill, like I said before, it was extremely relatable. And I'm going to tell you now why it was so relatable. Honestly, I think, if you're curious about what my life has been like with chronic illness, I think this is the most accurate media portrayal by far of any movie of what it's like to be a sick kid. And, sick person in general. So, here are the reasons why I absolutely loved 5 Feet Apart. The thing I really, really loved about it is the accuracy. Again, I thought it was so cool that people in the CF community were like, yeah, they're using the right nebulizer. And they actually had a CF nurse that worked with the makeup artist to make sure everything was right. And the thing I loved is that they had messy hospital hair. I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but think of every hospital movie or TV show about sick people you've ever seen. They all have this beautiful, flawless hair. Sorry. And that is far from the truth. The hospital, you have the worst hair day you've ever had in your whole life. The hospital hair struggle is so real. And I swear, people would come into the hospital to see me, and they'd think a movie in their head, and I looked like a homeless woman. I think it was actually, if I remember right, one of Claire Wineland's videos, she was complaining about that one time, and that's probably why they have hospital hair. Because she's like, hey, you do not have gorgeous hair in the hospital. Why do all these people have gorgeous hair? That is so not true. So I loved that these people had messy, frizzy hospital hair. They didn't look homeless, but they didn't look perfect, and I loved that. And they had sick kid eyes. I use a lot of base to cover mine, but you can still kind of see the shadows. The big dark circles you get when you don't feel good. And freak, they coughed and they wheezed, which I really, sorry, one sec. Sorry, as I told you guys before, I've been struggling with a little tachycardia, shortness of breath, right here. Just talking to you, my heart rate's jumping up to 102. So apparently, no, I'm not even getting really passionate. My heart's just being a fart. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so, one sec. Sorry, my brain fog has been so bad. But what I was saying is they coughed and they wheezed. It would show them be out of breath. And I really, really liked that. On the Red Band Society, the first thing with that drove me nuts is that your hospital band is typically blue or white. the only red band you'd have is your allergy band. And there is nothing special about your bonding about your allergy band. Unless you're like really, really passionate about penicillin or something. But yeah, like on the Red Band Society, they'd waltz around with their perfect hair and run around the hospital all carefree. And they never show any sign of illness ever, besides the fact they were in a hospital. Like, the guy with CF in the TV show seemed to have the best lung capacity out of all of them, and I loved that. In 5 Feet Apart, it wasn't like that. It showed them wheezing, it showed them out of breath, it showed infected J-tubes. Heck, when Stella was using her Athlo vest, it showed her spit up a giant wad of mucus, and I loved that, because illness isn't all, like, frilly-dilly and fluffy, like it's perceived in the movie sometimes. Like, it's rough, and sometimes it's gross, and it affects your physical appearance, and I really, really liked that they showed that. And I really, 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 really liked that they showed that, like, people who are sick are just normal people. Like, maybe it's just me, but I feel like in all the movies, people who are sick who are like, projected as these amazing souls who always smile and never complain and never have a bad day and are an influence to us all. And, like, honestly, there are so many people with chronic illness who are amazing. And I think it's because when you're sick, you can either take the road of my life is miserable, why is this happening to me, and be incredibly bitter and awful, or take the road as, yeah, I was given this illness and I could die from this illness, but I'm going to treat life as a gift. And a lot of people take the gift perspective. But the thing is, like, this showed that people with illness, they screw up. They say stupid things. Like, I loved when Stella, spoiler, after surgery, when she calls Will, because I've totally done that before to a guy. It's like, drug dialed. First time I ever told the boy I liked him, I was high in the hospital. And I really liked how they get into, like, some of the more, like, emotional and personal things about being sick. Like, I loved how it showed Stella's friends at the beginning getting ready for their senior trip to Cabo, and Stella couldn't go. And while they were focused on cute bikinis and cute boys, which of course Stella's into, Stella had to have focus on, yeah, I need to do this treatment or I could die. So sorry I can't go to Cabo. Like, I don't know, that really hit a core with me. Like, I, as you know, I absolutely love the movie and book The Fault in Our Stars, and I love it because it was the first movie I saw myself in. During that time in my life, I was the same age as Hazel Grace, and I was dying. And it was the first time I saw a movie and saw, like, myself portrayed in it and the struggles I faced. And I really liked that with Stella, too. Like, it showed that, well, like, when you're sick, people your age are contemplating senior trips when you're a senior and what colleges they're going to go into. And, like, when I was a senior, I was in the hospital every 3 days. Instead of contemplating college, I was contemplating my own mortality. And it really kind of shows that, like, when you face a disease that could kill you, how that affects your life. Like, I really loved what Poe said in it, because it's something I think about a lot and honestly struggle with. He was talking, I forgot who it was, too. He's like, yeah, what does someone get for loving me? They get piles of hospital bills. They get to pay for my treatments and hospitalizations. They get to watch me suffer and then watch me die. That's what they get for loving me. You guys are probably thinking that's really dark, but it's a brutal truth, and honestly, it's something I find myself thinking about a lot, to be honest. And I loved that they showed that. And another thing they said that I really, really liked, Stella, she's, again, spoilers, hopefully I'm not spoiling too much, but she said that I've been doing my treatments to live instead of, living to do my treatments instead of doing my treatments to live. And, there was so much truth in that. And I think anyone with a chronic illness can relate to that. I know of just myself, I found myself bouncing from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment, to hospital, to treatment, to scan, and your health just swallows you up, and you seem to be doing everything to stay alive. Instead of, like, you're just so focused on not dying, you forget to live. And that is such a struggle that is so true when you live with life-threatening chronic illness. And I think they really respected that pain and not struggle in this movie, and I really, really loved that. And it showed the more anal people like Stella, who, when you have illness, sometimes you do get a little bit of control issues because it seems like nothing in your life is in control. You're a prisoner to your demanding body. Like, it's a flesh prison. You do the treatments it wants, you eat what it wants you to eat, you sleep what it wants you to sleep, you do what it wants you to do. And there's people like Stella who are a bit more anal and are trying every single thing just to get better and to do the treatments right and to have what little control they have. And then people like Will, who are like, well, screw it, I'm gonna die anyway. And I've honestly been both of those people. And I loved that portrayal. And it's just, stories like this matter. And again, I loved how, like, it showed humor through illness. And it, like, oh, a part I absolutely adored is when it showed Stella and Will's scars. And it wasn't this moment like, ugh, scars, gross, ugh. It was this like moment of beauty and strength and silent confidence that comes from scars. And I loved that. As you know, I'm riddled with scars. And when I was 17, I had half my liver removed due to a tumor. And it left me this ginormous scar that goes like 6 inches down my abdomen. And after liver surgery, I was having these muscle spasms. I'm not even sure why, but I just remember the pain. It was some of the worst pain I've ever experienced. I had this giant incision and these muscle spasms would just shake my whole body. Nothing hurt like it. I was in the hospital and in the emergency room, and this nurse looked at me all sad, and she's like, "You're such a pretty girl. Darn it, you have these scars. There goes your chance of being a model." I'm just like, I think she said your chance of being a bikini model, but still, I was 17, and I have a scar from pyloric stenosis as a baby, and then I had this ginormous new scar. That gave me such a complex about my scars. Sorry, I hurt my face. And I still struggle with that complex sometimes to this day to find beauty in my scars. Now I have the pyloric stenosis scar, my liver surgery scar, a giant 6-inch scar on my back from cancer surgery, and just little scars everywhere from surgeries. And stretch marks over my body from prednisone. And the choice was either the stretch marks that come with prednisone use or die. So of course I chose stretch marks, but it doesn't make them easy. And it doesn't make having scars easy because, I don't know, scars typically aren't portrayed as beautiful. And I love that silent confidence that was shown in that moment, that silent beauty, that bravery that comes with scars. I wished I had something like that to see when I was 17. I loved that. I absolutely adored that. It's just like, it showed like, yeah, I'm not saying people with chronic illness aren't extraordinary. I mean, I don't view myself as extraordinary. But the thing is, I didn't even realize this until I watched one of Claire Wineland's videos. The thing that is kind of extraordinary about people with chronic illness is that we have to fight 10 times harder to do what healthy people take for granted, like take a breath. Like, I can't even imagine being, like, having CF and not being able to hug the person who understands your struggle the best. Like, I didn't even, my mind was blown. Like, wow. And just like that, with illness, we face these struggles with our mortality. Our lives are so different from the life of a healthy person, even though we are just normal people who screw up and are stupid or say the wrong things. We have this whole extra level of difficulty added to our lives, which gives us a whole extra added level of strength. And I think that was portrayed beautifully in this movie. I absolutely adored this movie. I found it so relatable. I think it is the most relatable movie for anyone with chronic illness. Well, at least for me, it was the most relatable movie I've ever seen. So tell me what you think. My mom watched it and she's like, Megan, this whole thing reminded me of you. So I think it's 1,000% relatable if you are sick or have someone you love in your life who is sick. And it's just, even if you don't have anyone you love in your life who's sick, you love me, right? Just kidding. But it's an amazing movie and it's a story that needs to be told. And I think it opens the door for more stories like this. So again, go see it. Tag me in your posts. Let me know what you think of this incredible movie. Read the book. And yeah, go watch this and just keep on being strong and always smile on.